I'm Eduardo da Silva, and today I'm not going to be talking about tech. I'm actually going to be talking about a topic that I've been working very closely together with while trying to get data science capability embedded within bol.com with an amazing group of people. And it's about how can we enable our teams to own their products. And I want to start with what I see as the issue to enable our teams to fully own our products. And it may be a sort of elephant in the room, but I still believe that we still have this business and IT silos when we are building products. And how does that look like? So we normally, when are building products, have people that work from business on thinking, why are we doing this? And what are we doing? And then we have those ideas that are being cooked for a while, coming down on a sort of a waterfall on our Agile organizations to the teams, to the IT teams, that think about how can we make this happen. So they become a sort of a feature factory, these teams. And it's very cool because this morning I was listening to Hub and then to the nice, inspiring talk, and I'm seeing that in both talks, they were talking about having teams working and focused on their product to make it very successful. And this is the focus of the talk today. So how can we bring these two silos to work more closely with each other? And how can we, as more the technical community, get prepared to work on that manner? So that's going to be my talk. So basically what we want to do is to get these two silos to work more closely with each other. And talking about silos, we as tech community, we have been doing silos already for a while. And we were trying within our teams, more the technical engineering teams, to get rid of silos. If you remember the old dev plus ops teams. So there we noticed this is really hindering our agility. So we are trying to move into DevOps teams. So a team that owns the devs and the operations of the product so we can be more agile. And why don't we just do biz DevOps teams? Why don't we have teams that own the product on all the perspectives, all the disciplines that we need to make the product successful? Because the whole idea is that we stop going from a model where there are different perspectives and the sum of these perspectives is not the maximum power, to a model where we are sitting together and the sum of our perspectives are more aligned and we can more quickly innovate on our products. And I think this is all about, so agility, to me, it's all about velocity. How do we define a clear direction to go and how can we go fast on that direction? So high velocity. And this sort of would enable this truly multidisciplinary team. So it's not only about some disciplines within what we call today Scrum teams, but it's taking a step further, bring the whole thing into the team. So this biz DevOps apparently didn't pick up, and what is actually happening is that we are calling these teams that get all these multiple disciplines as product teams. And this is what the very fast-moving companies have been doing for a while. So the Facebook, the Google, the Amazons, the Netflixes, etc. They realize that if you go into this silo way of working, if you continue doing that, you are hindering your velocity. You cannot move fast because there is someone thinking about a problem and then asking some other team to implement it. And maybe sometimes it's just not possible to get this implemented. So why did we spend time thinking about that? So the idea is that the product team owns the product. So owns end-to-end, from the idea until the implementation or the innovation on top of it. But aren't we already doing this? At some extent, we may already be doing this in many agile organizations, but product teams have some particularities that make this step on agility go further. One of them, and I'm so happy to have heard this on previous talks, especially on the previous talk, which is everyone has a clear goal. Not only the business has a goal, and then this goal is tried to be transmitted to the IT team building the product. No, it's the whole team, so business, engineering, design, whoever needs to be involved, data science. Everyone shapes the goal of the product. And they have a clear idea on how do we go into this goal. Another aspect is that we many times see neglected, which is an obsession on customer value. So we, as a product team, we try to move based on the validation, on a constant validation with our customer. The other point is that a product team aligns within the organization and tries to contribute to the top-level strategies. Every year we have our own strategies. We need to increase our conversion by X, whatever. But the most interesting thing is that it should also be bottom-up. So there must be sort of an emerging strategy within this product team. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you don't always know what the customer needs. So you need to have constant experimentation and validation with your customer to learn what are the next big steps that we should take on building our product. And that's a bit about the product teams. But what can we do as tech community to step towards this? So we certainly need to excel on engineering our products, but there is a component that we also need to develop further, which is what I like to call tech leadership. And this is about how can we, going from just being feature factories, to look at the bigger picture and be able to work with more disciplines and be able to basically participate of the whole life cycle of the product development. So we shouldn't just be doing the how, we should also be involved on the why and the what of the product. Why are we building this? And especially because we know so much about how we are building the product that sometimes we may just say, that's not even possible to do. So why are we spending time on doing this new development on our product? The other one is, which is, I'm a software engineer by heart, so sometimes it's difficult for me to do this, which is we always try to over-engineer things. And sometimes that thing that we are building, it's maybe not even going to make into the real product. So why don't we validate before we over-engineer? And this is, I think, something that we need to really take further. And in this picture of product teams and being product-driven, constant iteration with our customer allows us to do this. So we can put together a scrappy prototype, not crappy, but scrappy, something that can hold. We validate, and then if this makes sense, we can take the next steps and make it future-proof. This is not to say that we will put in jeopardy the technical vision of the product. Because this is a product. It's something that will last for a long time. It's not a project. A project is an iteration. So we, as the technical part of these product teams, need to make sure that any very important decision we make will not hinder the growth of our product in the future. And last but not the least, so there are many other things, but these are a few that I think are very relevant. I'm all into, for the last new tech, that's excellent, but I think we also need to become more passionate about product value. I think that's the end goal, so how can we make our product better? And so all these big, fast-moving companies are building these products, but no one has a recipe to do this. So what I actually try to put together is a few principles that I'm seeing on all these companies and also on our day-to-day, for example, while developing data science capability, which is what I like to call a well-rounded product team. What are the principles that normally come up? One of them, and I think this is the essential, is the one that I'm trying to talk today about technical leadership, but there must also be product leadership. So how can we make sure that our product is going on the right direction? How can we combine these two into a common vision? This is also very important to me, which is and very, very relevant, especially for example, in our organization, we have microservices, and that's excellent to enable us to move fast, but we need to be very careful on how we scope the products. So a product can be made of multiple microservices, but the way we need to scope this is that the product needs to be as independent as possible from the other products, so that you can keep on iterating on it without having a lot of dependencies. I think all of us relate a lot with this. Sometimes we are waiting for another team to develop something. And we need to see how does this fit on the landscape, and that's more the scoping in terms of architecture. We also need to be sort of entrepreneurs, because if we own end-to-end the product, we need constantly think, okay, what's the next thing that will make us to go to the next level? This is another excellent point to pay attention, which is this is a multidisciplinary team. So we have business, we have design, we have data science, we have engineers. How can we work together? And how can we define a common vision? And that's, I already touched this one. So we own a product and we do projects to innovate on it. So I think we need to think about the product. How are we constantly making it better? And the key to all of this is really motivate a culture of learning. So we learn how to work better with each other, but also learning how shall we take next steps on our product. And that's it. I would like, this is a ball.com internal thing. I think we should go from you build it, you run it, you love it, to you own it. So the team should own the whole thing, not just build and run and love. So we need to own the whole thing. And I think this will enable us to go into the next level of agility. Thank you very much. If you want to check more about this, I'm actually putting together material on this topic, so you can check there. And I think I have a few minutes for questions.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for the inspiration. My question would be, if all the big tech companies are currently doing this, why are we not? What would you say is the biggest bump ahead? What is holding us back?
I think the biggest bump ahead is what I tried to say at the beginning, which is to realize that we need to stop doing this business and IT processes separate from each other and just make sure that the product team has the people that are doing those exercises together. So think of it like we normally have business thinking about some initiatives, and then we have the Scrum team with the board, with more engineering implementation things. My proposal is we should have all the things that are related with the product on that board. So the business development things and the implementation things should be on the same board. And this is what these big companies are doing. But they are just sort of realizing in the last few years. And I think we are also taking steps to move in this direction, more a product organization. So it's about taking that step. Yeah.
And we have for another one?
Thank you. I think you make some interesting points. I was wondering, you talked about the how and the what, and that we as IT, as a product team, I guess, should get involved into that.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, is there any boundary in that? Because normally, at least for our team, business does the business analysis, And of course, IT can contribute with estimations and maybe saying if something is technically feasible or not, because that's really a value we can add. But I don't see myself as a software engineer doing a lot of business analysis. If you are one team, right? So
and maybe you don't need to do that, but you certainly, if you have all those activities happening within your team and being transparent, what's happening, etc., you, as more the tech savvy person, can contribute back and say, hey, don't go there, because that's just something impossible to add on our product, for example. So it doesn't mean that everyone will be doing all the activities. We certainly have people that are more skilled in certain of these activities. But in many cases, sometimes there is already a cooked solution that comes into your plate. And at least I see that happening a lot. So
that sometimes happens.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, let's all participate of the cooking.
Nice suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're out of time, so.
Okay.
Did I miss someone?
Well, thank you. Or thank you.